Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we begin our lesson in Adab Sulukil Murid and Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity for us to continue with our lesson, and we pray that Allah bless us and forgiveness and answer our prayers. And may Allah protect us from all difficulties, trials and tribulations in dunya and akhirah, and bless us with husnul khatimah, and guide us with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam yawm al-qiyamah, ameen ya rabbal alameen. So inshallah we will enter into kitab Adab Sulukil Murid, and we will continue from where we stopped last week, and we are at chapter 5 where Al-Imam Al-Haddad is speaking about purity in the outward and also in the inward. So we spoke about the importance of having ablution at all times, and this is the thing that Imam Al-Haddad begins with in this particular chapter, where he speaks about the importance of maintaining our ablution, our ablution, because ablution is a source of protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is also a source of the mercy of Allah. So as a seeker to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is important for us to understand this importance, and we try our best inshallah ta'ala, and we pray that Allah bless us tawfiq, that we are able to train ourselves to be constantly in a state of ablution, especially before we go to sleep. Inshallah, we make it as a habit that we take our ablution before we go to sleep, and we recite the dua before sleeping. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us with rewards even though we are in a state of sleep. So inshallah we enter into our book. So now we are at page 21 of the kitab, the translation of Adab Sulukil Murid. So Al-Imam Al-Haddad he mentioned, to help maintain his spiritual purity, he should eat a little. Verily, the one who eats much breaks his spiritual purity often, and finds it an effort to maintain ritual purity. Eating little is also of help in keeping awake at night, which is one of the most important functions of a seeker. So here Imam Al-Haddad he speaks about the benefit of eating a little, not to eat a lot in our daily intake of our food and drink. So it is important for us as seekers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to control the food intake, not to the extent where we eat too much that becomes a reason for us to be difficult to perform the daily obligations and also the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here Imam Al-Haddad is advising on the food consumption. So inshallah all of us as usual, we take this opportunity of classes of this nature, that we make this intention inshallah to practice what we have heard from Al-Imam Al-Haddad, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah bless us with tawfiq, because this knowledge of spirituality, it is all about amal. It is all about putting into practice. That is how we can benefit from this knowledge. Otherwise, without practice, we cannot benefit anything. The second thing is about the importance of Qiyamul Layl, and here Imam Al-Haddad speaks about the effect of eating a lot with regards to waking up at night, and this is in reality something that is easily understood by people, because the more we eat, the more we will sleep, and the more it will be difficult for us to wake up at specific timings, especially before Fajr. So inshallah ta'ala, we make this intention to wake up every day before Fajr, and to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to make dua to Allah, as what Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَبِالْ أَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. In the time of Sahar, the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they ask Allah for forgiveness. So inshallah ta'ala, all of us, including myself, we renew this intention, and we make this intention that inshallah from tonight onwards, we are going inshallah to wake up at night. So waking up at night, and it depends any on one own's any capacity. There are people any who are blessed any by Allah that they are able any to spend a long time any in ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But all this any requires any practice. As a beginner, it is at least we are able any to be at our prayer mat any for even any for a few minutes or 2 rak'ah for example, and we take any some time to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking Allah any for forgiveness. And this is any the time any if we are facing any difficulties or problems, whether in terms any of financial or family and so on and so forth. This is any the opportunity any that we ask any Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this blessed timing, where Allah mentioned in a few places any in the Quran, the dua any is mustajab. So inshallah, all of us any we again and we make any this intention that we wake up at any at night. Again, any this knowledge again is about practice. It's about any practice. The way any we are able to benefit any from this kitab, from the adab in sulukil murid, is how much any of a practice any do we put in after any we have learned. Otherwise, any this knowledge is just any going any to be an information. But inshallah, yani we pray to Allah and never be disappointed. Yani if we have difficulties in doing so, do not give up. Yani that is the thing. Shaitan yani wants you yani to give up, wants you yani to be disappointed and with yourself. So at the same time also it is important for us yani to understand, never ever yani be disappointed yani with ourselves. Always yani put hope yani in Allah, that Allah has the ability and the power to bless us yani with His mercy and His bounties. And if Allah wants, everything will happen. So do not despair from the mercy any of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though we find ourselves we have a lot any of shortcomings. But inshallah, that's why I always mention any the importance of putting intention, because the moment any you put intention, Allah will give you any the rewards. And inshallah, any put azm, put any this will, that inshallah any we are going any to practice. So we say sami'na wa ata'na, and we say inshallah we are going any to practice inshallah what we have learned. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us any with easiness. And then he mentioned it is incumbent that he should not eat unless it is absolutely necessary. So this thing, what you call it, we have to look at this also. Do not yani have any this culture yani of constantly any consuming, constantly eating this and eating that, and what you call it, trying everything and to fill up any our stomachs any at each any moment. So we have any to put any some any restrictions any to our food consumption. And if we are full, then any we try any our best any to avoid any eating any too much, because this is not only bad any for our health, but it is also any bad any for our spiritual any being. So we try any our best any to consume any less in our food any consumption. What is important any is that we are able any to function any as a person in carrying out any our daily job, our daily work, our daily any responsibilities. So we do not any put any food any as our purpose. We do not any put any our food and drink any as something any that is of great any importance any in front of us. Any food and drink, it is any a reason any for us any to sustain any in carrying the obligations any of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is any a reason or means for us any to sustain any ourselves, but not any as a purpose whereby it any we live any our lives thinking any day and night any of what are the foods any that we are going any to taste, and what are the foods any that we are going to eat. So this is something any that should not any be in the life any of what you call it, salik any to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeker to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And sleeps any only when it overcomes him. He should speak only when necessary. So all these things Imam al-Haddad is telling us. Number one, and he speak any about food any consumption, and then the relation any between food consumption any and sleeping. That's what we mentioned any. The relation is that any the more any we eat any the more any we will sleep. So we try any to decrease any our food any consumption, and we try any to control any our sleep. And we sleep any when there is really any a need to, not something any that we always any do it, and even any there is no need any for us to be any in that state. And when it comes to speaking, and this is also important, especially in this zaman, we should be careful in everything that we say, everything that we type. So we try our best not to speak when it is not any necessary. Try to control our speech. Only we speak when it is necessary. It is better for us to be in a state of silence, unless if you are speaking about religion, we are advising or we are teaching or we are speaking about things that brings people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no problem in that. That is a reason that we are able to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if we are in a state where it is not necessary for us to speak or to type, it is better to avoid, unless there is really a need to do so. May Allah bless us with tawfiq. Ameen ya rabbal alameen. Then he mentioned, and not mingle to be close with people except that it brings him spiritual benefit. So likewise, mixing with people, the best is to avoid. This is not nowadays what people say as antisocial. Antisocial is different. Antisocial meaning you do not like to mix with people, even though it brings you any benefit. This is the meaning of antisocial. But here Islam taught us that if you mix with people that will bring close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it is better for you to mix with those people. But so we have to look at the situation and look at the people whom we are mixing. If there are people who we can benefit from their knowledge, from their akhlaq, from their ways, then it is better for us to mix. But if you look at people around you, for example, they only bring you away from Allah. They do not speak about deen. They don't have the concern about deen. Speaking about gossip and fitna, speaking about belittling people and so on, then we should avoid. So Islam place for us the do's and the don'ts in mixing with people. Islam do not tell us not to mix with people, or Islam do not tell us to mix with people. We have to look at the situation. So if mixing with people brings us close to Allah, then it is encouraged. But if not, it is better to avoid. So that is why Imam al-Haddad here he mentioned, if it brings you benefit in dunya and akhirah, it brings you any benefit, and you can benefit from advisors, you can benefit from admonishments, you can benefit from remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are people whom you mix with them, you get any benefit in terms of their knowledge and spirituality. Now that is highly recommended for us to put ourselves in. The one who eats much, his heart grows hard, and his limbs become too heavy for acts of worship. So here Imam al-Haddad he speaks about what is the effect of eating too much. Eating too much. So eating too much, he mentioned the heart becomes the reason. The heart becomes hard. Where a person it's difficult for him to benefit from advisors, to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have khushu in prayers, and so on and so forth, and to be lazy in acts of ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the side effects to eating too much. And the limbs becomes too heavy for acts of worship. Eating a lot causes want to sleep and talk a lot. And when a seeker sleeps and talks a lot, the quest becomes an empty shell devoid of substance. So here again and again Imam al-Haddad is directing us to the path. What is the path? The path to Allah. The path in it, we make ourselves closer to Allah, because this is the purpose. That's what we mentioned in the beginning of this kitab Adab Sulukul Murid. Imam al-Haddad speaks about the importance of maintaining ourselves in this path. So we spoke last time about the path to Allah and the importance to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he mentioned the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which inshallah we will speak about the hadith in our next lesson. Because of time, we have to enter into our next kitab, that is kitab Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah. So now we will enter into the next book. last weekend we are speaking about this field, and we spoke about the properties of. We spoke about the properties of field when it comes to the smell, the color, the taste, and I mentioned, or the author mentioned about the difference between field that is ainiyah and hukmiyah. So just we do a quick revision before we continue. Ainiyah is a type of field that you can use your senses to detect. And if, for example, you can see it, you can see the color of the najis. For example, urine, you can see the yellowish stains, for example, and the smell, and also the taste. So these are the three properties, and based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the color, the taste, and also the smell. So if any of these properties are present in a field, then it is compulsory for us to remove all the three properties. Yani we have to wash, meaning the clothes, for example, and we have to make sure that the color, the smell, and the taste disappears. This is how we ascertain that the clothes are pure again. So the moment the properties disappeared, for example, so just imagine if I have this towel, for example, and then there is a bit of urine here. So what I do, for example, I open up the tap and I put it under the flowing water and I rub it. So now, to such an extent where you cannot see the color anymore, you cannot no smell, no taste, then we say that this towel is pure. So this is pertaining to field that is based on ainiyah, a substance, based on a substance. There is another type of field that is called hukmiyah, and hukmiyah is the opposite of ainiyah. Yani no smell, no taste, no smell, no taste, and no color. No smell, no taste, and no color. So last week I gave an example. You enter into the toilet and you know there is najis on the floor, but no smell, no taste, no color. But you know there is najis, so it is enough that we pour water on it. Yani that we pour water on it. So that is enough for us to remove filth that is based on hukmiyah. So this is basically what we mentioned in our last lesson. So today's lesson, we just left a bit more before we enter into the chapter of Tayammum. The last thing that the author speaks about is what we call as al-rusala. In Arabic we call it al-rusala. So we have to pay attention a bit. This requires some attention. Some attention. Because we need to understand these things. Otherwise, we might be confused. Basically, the author mentioned that when it comes to hukmiyah, before this, the condition is that we have to pour water. Because by pouring water that comes from the top, it has energy. And this energy is a thing that can remove the filth based on hukmiyah. So this is what he said, وَيُشْتَرَةُ وُرُودُ الْمَاءِ الْقَلِيلِ. It is a precondition to have a little flow of water. This is pertaining to hukmiyah. And then he mentioned, this is what I underlined in red. So if you can see here, we are entering into this particular chapter, the chapter of Tayammum. So this is the last line, but this requires some explanation. And in Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah is only one sentence, and you can imagine, only one sentence. And the author speaks about what we have in fiqh. They call it al-rusala. Al-rusala. If you go back, if you read books like Reliance of the Traveler, at least Ibn Naqib al-Masri, and he speaks a few sentences about this rusala. But here in Muqaddimah Hadramiyyah, mashallah, you see the author make it so concise. So concise. And what did he say? He said, al-rusalatul qalilatu tahiratun. Al-rusalatul qalilatu tahiratun. Yani water that is based on rusala, even though it is a little here, meaning any less than tuqullah. Even though it is little, it is pure. Tahiratun ma lam yataghayyar wa qad tahural mahal. As long as the water that comes out after it does not possess any of the three properties, then we say that the place where the water hits becomes pure. and the water that comes out from it will also yani be pure, but cannot purify. This is, it takes any the ruling any of musta'mal. Tahirun fi nafsihi, ghayru mutahirin li ghayrihi. So it is water that is pure but cannot purify. This is any the water of ghusala. So let me show you this example. What is any this meaning any of ghusala? Yani if you read this any you won't understand. So let me any give you any this example. So I will use any the towel again. I will use any this towel. So imagine now, imagine there is urine. I just give an example, fill any urine, easy. Yeah, there is urine, a bit any of urine at the tip any of this towel. So I want to wash any this towel. Tamam? So there is any some trace any of urine any on top. So what do? Point number one, when comes any to this ghusala, the thing any about ghusala, the water yani has to flow on top down. We are not speaking any about yani throwing this towel into a bucket any water. What happens any if you have a pail any water and there is some traces of filth on this small towel, for example, and you throw it any into the pail of water? What happens any to the pail of water? It becomes any mutanajjis. This is not ghusala. It's not ghusala. So condition any number one, the water must flow from on top down. So nowadays any we speak any about, for example, the tap water. So now I open any the tap water. So the tap any is on top, correct or not? Yani the tap any is on top. So now I put yani this towel yani with the najis at the tip any of this towel below, and then I open up any the tap. The water now goes out and hit at the tip any of this towel. So after some time I rub it, and for example after some time what happens? There is no more traces any of urine left, correct or not? No more traces. This is what any the author meant any by qad tahura al-mahal. Qad tahura al-mahal meaning this part any becomes tahir. You don't see any traces any of filth. Taib. Now the water any that you collect. Now this is ghusala. The water that you collect. So now I'm using any this tap water, for example, to wash any this towel, and I'm recollecting any the tap water. So now any we ask any the question, what is the ruling any of the water that is collected any from this action? Because now I'm using any this tap water any to wash part any of the towel that is afflicted any by filth. So now when the part any becomes clean again, so now what is any the ruling any of the water that is in that water that is collected now? Is it najis? It is mutanajis, or it is a pure water, or it is used water? Yani either it is mutanajis or musta'mal, or the other one is mutlaq. So the answer is, as what the author mentioned, al-ghusalatul qalilatu. So pay attention to the word qalila. Here we are not speaking any about water that is a lot, because water that is a lot, no issue. If there is najis, and it is still pure, because it doesn't change, as long as it doesn't change the properties. So al-ghusala here is water any that is a little, water that is less than tuqulla. Tahiratun, it is pure, but it is not mutahhira. It is tahira and not mutahhira. So there is any a difference any between tahir and mutahhir. Tahir any is pure but cannot purify, whereas mutahhir any is pure and can purify. So this is any the difference any between water that is tahir and water that is mutahhir. Just like any musta'mal, for example, used water, we call it, it is pure, but it cannot purify, correct or not? Just like coffee, for example, coffee, and it takes any the guling any of musta'mal. Coffee takes a guling of musta'mal. It is tahira and not mutahira. So likewise, al-ghusala, now any the author is saying, even though any water any is used to cleanse away the filth, but it is still pure. So it is not any mutanajis. By right, any it is mutanajis, correct or not? By right, and because why? Because now we are speaking about najis here. We are not speaking about coffee. We are speaking about urine. We are speaking any about urine. So now any you open up any the tap, and the water any touches it, and then any you recollect any the water. So the water is carries any the ruling any of musta'mal, any pure. It is not mutanajis. Even though any we are speaking any about najis. So this is the phenomenon, ya jama'ah. This is any the phenomenon. So here it is an exceptional case. Al-ghusala is an exceptional case. So ghusala yani is the water that is collected. It is pure. People yani will ask, and for example, why is it pure? Why is it pure and not mutanajis? Why is it not any considered to be filthy water, when the fact that you are cleansing any the towel any from the urine, and urine any is a filth? Why is it still pure? Why it is not any considered any to be mutanajis? This is the question. The answer any to this any is this. These are the words in our fuqaha. They mention that water that flows, water any that flows from top to down, possesses energy. Possesses any energy that can convert something that is a filth any to purity. It can convert yani a filth any to purity. This is any the power any of water. This is any the power any water. Yani if you look any, for example, yani the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet any mentioned, إذا بلغ الماء قلتين لم يحمل الخبث. When water yani reaches any to qullah, it does not yani carry any in it filth. Type. This is a miracle. This is a miracle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nowadays, any scientists any they found out that huge any volumes any of water possesses, the larger the volumes any of water, the more energy any that is possessed any by that body any of water, to such an extent that it can wash away filth. Yani imagine and you have like a swimming pool any of pure water, for example, and there are droplets any of urine inside yani the water. After some time, any what happens any to those any droplets? It goes away. It goes away. How come any it goes away? Because water, when it is large any amount, it possesses any enough any energy to dilute those filth. So and likewise any water that is from top down, yani just like for example waterfall, and when they hit any, for example, this water when it is from what you call it, from the top any flowing any down, it possesses any this energy due to its gravity and due to the energy and that water itself any possess, that it is able any to wash away any filth. So this is any a phenomenon, and this is a miracle of the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning, how does the Prophet ﷺ any knew this in 1,400 years ago, when there is no technology any to explain any about the properties any of water as what nowadays any scientists any found out. For example, nowadays they do a lot of experiments any to study any the properties any of water, and how does energy moves any in water, and how by water any, for example, today for example any you get any electricity, for example, by the flowing any of water. Generators any, for example, in science any we learn, they do these dams any with high any volumes any of water. Then after that any they put any the generator, and the generator any moves. The generator any moves by the flowing any of water. So this is any the energy that water any possess. So this is any the thing any that is able any to dilute any the filth. So from mutanajis any carries any the ruling of musta'mal. So it is pure. So but there is a condition. Of course there is a condition. Not all forms of rusala yani is pure. So how do we ascertain any that it is pure? So we have to go back to the properties, to the three properties. So now any, for example, I wash this towel already, correct or not? There is any a bit any of filth. There is any a bit any of filth. So I open up the tap and the water yani gush in, and this towel becomes clean after some time, correct or not? So the urine is collected, and the water that washes any off any the urine. So I collect any in a pail of water, for example. I put a pail of water any below. So now, to ascertain whether this water yani is mutanajis or not mutanajis, I have any to look at the properties in terms any of the color, smell any, or taste. So for example, I look any at the color any of the water, yani it doesn't change any. For example, color any of water, there is no traces any of yellowish any urine, no smell, no taste any of urine. Then I ascertain that this water yani is pure, and this is any the meaning of al-ghusala. Waqad tahur al-mahal. Al-mahal, as what I mentioned earlier, is a place anywhere the filth is, and it becomes any pure. And the properties any of water it does not change, then we say it is pure. So this is, and let's go back into the kitab. Say, and the little water that was used to purify is pure when it does not change, and the container has also become pure again, and you have to change this off one. So now, inshallah, we enter into the chapter of Tayammum. The chapter of Tayammum in English, and it is translated as dry ablution. So here the author mentioned faslun yatayammamul muhdithu wal junubu li faqdil ma'i wal baradi wal marad. For a person who is in a state of ritual impurity, it is permissible for him to perform dry ablution if water is unavailable, cold temperature, or if the person is unwell. So now the author begins by speaking about the reasons that we are able to perform tayammum, and where it becomes permissible for us to perform the dry ablution. And I believe all of us who are following this lesson, at least we understand basically what's the meaning of tayammum. Tayammum is basically we use the dust to wipe our face and our hands. Our face and our hands with the dust. So in pertaining to the permissibility, so these are some of the situations. So number one, he said al muhdithu wal junubu. It is permissible for the muhdith, the one who does not have ablution, or the one who is in a state of janaba. He has to bear the obligatory bath, and there is no water. Lifaqdil ma. There is no water. Water is unavailable. Wal bardi wal marad. And sometimes water is present, but it is too cold, 0 degrees Celsius. For example, if you use the water, it can cause harm to you. It can cause harm to you. So now there is a concession that we can do tayammum instead of using the water, but with the condition there is no heater. Unless if you can heat up the water, then it is not permissible for you to do tayammum. Here we are speaking about like we do not have any means to heat up the water. Wal marad, sickness, when the person is sick, and the doctor tells him that you cannot use water. If you use water, your sickness will prolong, and it cause danger into your life, for example, then we say what you call it tayammum, and it becomes permissible for that particular person. Fa in tayaqqana faqdal ma'i tayammama bila talabin. So the author he begins by speaking about doing tayammum when the water is not available. When water is not available. So this is the first thing that the author speaks about. So now the situation is you do not have water. That you do not have water. So he said that if you are convinced that the place which you are in does not have any water. For example, you are in the desert, and you are convinced 100% because you live there, for example, you know that this area do not have water. This area do not have water. So it is permissible for you to do tayammum without searching for water. Because you are convinced that there is no water. You are convinced that there is no water. But if you are in doubt, for example, you do not know whether there is water or there is no water, then it is wajib for you to search. Likewise, when you have this feeling of possibility, this zone, that there is a high possibility that there is water around you. Now it becomes wajib for you to search for water. So this is where he mentioned after this. He said, wa in tawahhama al-ma'a aw dhannahu aw shakka fihi fattasha fi manzilihi wa inda rufqatihi wa taraddada qadra haddil ghaus. So now it becomes wajib for him to find water, to search in his house, his group. The distance of searching is to be as far as the distance where one's voice can reach haddul ghaus. So we have this terminology which our scholars they call it haddul ghaus. Haddul ghaus. And in the meaning of haddul ghaus, Yani, it is any the distance anywhere the voice any of a person any can reach. So our scholars any mentioned it is about 150 meters. 150 meters any along any the radius yani of that area. So if you are in an area 150 meters and you have to search any for water, if you have doubt or to you there is a possibility that you can find water. Maybe some people are keeping it, for example, in their houses or in their vehicles, for example, or there is a well somewhere because you are not sure of this place, you are new to the area, so there is a possibility and you are in doubt, then wajib any for you. You cannot any perform tayammum any without searching any for water. So you have to search this area any of haddul ghawth. So this is any the first thing any that the author any mentioned when a person any does not possess water. So earlier any when we spoke about conviction any 100% conviction yaqeen, that you already know that this area any got no water. So if you are convinced, then there is no need any for you to search. But if you are in doubt, you have to search any as far as haddul ghawth, 150 meters any radius. وَقَدَّرَ بَعْضُهُمْ بِغَلْوَةِ سَهْمٍ. Some scholars any mentioned that as far as the arrow shoots, so it is about any 150 meters. فَإِن لَمْ يَجِدْ مَاءً تَيَمَّمَ. So after he searched any for water 150 meters any, look everywhere, asking people, for example, does anybody any has water and so on and so forth, and he cannot find. Then now it is permissible any for him any to perform tayammum. وَإِن تَيَقَّنَ وُجُودَ الْمَاءِ وَجَبَ طَلَبُهُ فِي حَدِّ الْقُرْبِ. If a person now and he is convinced any that there is water, yaqeen, based on yaqeen, fi haddil qurb, yani we have any another terminology. Earlier we spoke about haddul ghawth and is about 150 meters. Haddul qurb and is about 2.4 kilometers. 2.4 kilometers. Yani if a person has conviction that within this area that he is in there is water, but it must base on yaqeen, not based on zan or shak. It is based on 100% in conviction. If he is convinced, and if, for example, there is a sea, maybe what you call it 1 kilometer down, there is the seaside, the beach, then it is wajib for him to take any the water, to use any water, and it is not any permissible for him to perform tayammum. It is wajib, because why? This is based on conviction and not based on doubt. فَإِنْ كَانَ فَوْقَ حَدِّ الْقُرْبِ تَيَمَّمَ. But if it is more than haddul qurb, any more than 2.4 kilometers, and for example somebody is saying that the beach in 5 kilometers, and for example, now it's not wajib, even though you are convinced and you use a binoculars and you see there is a sea, correct or not? Yani, or you use a drone, yani you can see there is a ocean. So, but it is about 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. So in this any particular situation, it is not wajib for you to go to the place all the way to use the water. What you can do you can perform tayammum. You can perform any tayammum. So now how many terms we have when it comes to distance? We got 3 terms ya jama'ah. Number 1 haddul ghawth 150 meters, and then number 2 haddul qurb, and it's about 2.5 kilometers, and haddul bu'd, yani far distance. Anything that is more than 2.4 is considered to be far. So when it comes to far distance, not compulsory for you to search for water. When it comes to the near distance, haddul bu'd, within 2.4, it is wajib for you to get the water if you are convinced there is water, but not when it comes to zon or doubt. But when it comes to haddul, when it comes to zon and shak, you have to search for water within 150 meters. That is haddul ghawth. So we have haddul ghawth, haddul qurb, and haddul bu'd. وَالْأَفْضَلُ تَأْخِيرُ الصَّلَاةِ إِنْ تَيَقَّنَ وُصُولَ الْمَاءِ آخِرَ الْوَقْتِ. So here the author is saying that if there is a possibility that the water can, if there is a conviction of one, if there is any conviction that water will come, but at the end of the time, that for example Asar is at 4 o'clock, you know 3:30 someone is coming to bring water, 3:30, it is better for you to wait for him. It is better for you to wait for that person and you perform yani ablution as per normal, rather than you perform yani tayammum. But if you does not have the conviction, then it's better to perform tayammum. If you are in doubt, for example, maybe that person is coming, not coming. Maybe he's coming, maybe he's not coming. Then in this situation, it's better for you to do tayammum and pray at the early hour. But if you are convinced that someone is coming to bring water, then it is better for you not to pray first. It's better for you to wait and take ablution and perform any your prayers, because at the end of the day, it is better to pray with water rather than to use the dust, because using water is the origin, whereas the dust is based on emergency. Tayammum is based on emergency, and it takes the place of ablution, but it does not. It is a weak form of tahara. It is a weak form of tahara. So inshallah, if there is any question, then you can ask. There is a question here. Assalamu alaikum Ustaz. Wa alaikum salam. Is it correct to say that when you wash a piece of filled clothing under running water, the water that splashes onto you, as the water hits the clothing is pure? Not necessary. Not necessary. What we are saying is, now, if you are washing the clothes and you are putting it under running water, if the filth is still on the cloth, and the water hits the filth and hits you, for example, but the filth is still present at the cloth. Now this is najis. This is najis. But in the situation where the filth is no more there, then no issue. The second thing we mentioned, then the ghusala that is pure that we are speaking about is the water that is collected after you wash the clothes under the running water. So the water that is collected, if the properties does not change, then only is pure. But if the properties change, in terms of the smell, for example, you can smell any filth, then it is najis. Then it is najis. So, but when it comes to the water directly hitting you, after washing the clothes, now you have to look at the situation. If the filth is still present at the clothes and it hits you, meaning this is mutanajis. This is mutanajis. This is considered to be mutanajis, because the high possibility is that the filth is still there. The filth is still there and transferred to you and hits you. So, but it's different if the water. So as long as the filth is there, the water now is not considered to be pure. So after the filth has been cleansed, then only we say that the water now is considered to be pure, because we, at the end of the day, we have to look at the properties of water, in terms of their color, in terms of the taste, and in terms of the smell. If there are no color, no taste, no smell, no filth, then we say that the water is considered to be pure water. So if you take the water and you put on your clothes, it doesn't harm, you can perform your prayers with. You can perform your prayers with it. والله أعلم بالصواب. ربنا تقبل دعانا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم واختم بصالحات أعمالنا وأجرنا الله كريم بفضل سبحان ربك بالعزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.